Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Digital-Motorsports YouTube channel and to the IDMC LMP2 and GT3 Autumn Series, the final round live from Le Mans here in France at night. How much better could you get to round out what has been a fantastic season of multi-class racing? Two championships to decide this evening. Both the LMP2 and GT3 will go down to the wire here at Le Mans. Really looking forward to this as always. My name is Jack Canal, alongside me is Kevin Galvin, Ron the Headerman as always, running cameras. Kevin, it's Le Mans, it's night time, it's a great place to be, really.
Yeah, I always love coming here because I get to say bonsoir et bienvenue au Le Mans. But apart from that, chat, this is kind of the home place of endurance racing. This is the track that these cars are really designed for. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic to see how this works. We're in the final round. Obviously, both championships very much up for grabs. We'll look at the standings in a bit. But yeah, it's going to be an absolutely massive race. We got an hour here at Le Mans to decide who will take home the IDMC championship. Jack, and as you say, at night makes things even more interesting. So yeah, buckle up. Get in the YouTube comments, let us know what you think, and enjoy this evening, because it's going to be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, it really, really is. Both championships are very, very close. The gap at the top of the LMP2 standings is just 11 points going into this one. GT3 a little bit wider, but still very much up for grabs, because there is a drop round to take into account as well. And some of the drivers have actually been very kind, did out a spreadsheet and have calculated drop rounds into some of these as well. So looking forward to seeing how this is going to go. But in the end, at the moment, looking at the GT3 category, it is Ada Staskevicius who's at the top of those standings at the moment on 365 points. Vladimir Ponomarenko second on 309. And then Luca Thingard on 270. So in reality, those guys are all still mathematically in with a chance, but ADAS still has quite a large margin. There's the standings on your screen right now. Staskevicius on 365, Ponomarenko on 309, and Thingard on 270, Dennis Hanley on 269. So top four kind of mathematically in with a chance, 100 points for a win, but in reality, Staskevicius, he's got a decent margin there, Kev.
Yeah, very decent margin. Adas Staskevich is what I've been researching. I said if he won the championship, I would get his name right, or at least I would do my very level best to get his name right. And I've been all around Lithuanian YouTube this evening and today, making sure that I was listening to similar people with same names, not similar people, but people with similar names, to hear how their names are pronounced. So as far as I'm aware, and as far as my Irish tongue can wrap around, it's Staskevich, and I will just stick with that from now on. But we're looking at the LMP2 standings, very much up for grabs there, particularly given that we heard that P2 in the championship, Timo Hayden, is suffering from software issues.
Yeah, he has had some problems with his wheel this week, unfortunately. Issues. Yeah, hardware issues with his wheel. He's had problems with the wheel sort of cutting out through some of the corners, so not ideal, but he's still absolutely mathematically in with a chance. But Oscar Mangin, he's at the top of the standings, and he's going for his third title in Digital Motorsports as well, and to get himself even closer to Keith Dempsey's record that has been done. So let's see if it happens for Oscar Mangin. He won the V8 Supercar Championship, and he's now in with a shot of winning in the LMP2 and GT3 Series as well. Timo Hayden, in his first season, is on course to try and do that as well. And Josh Malin is still in with a shot here. He's 50 points off the lead, so still in with a chance. And he was quickest in practice by almost 7/10 of a second. Josh Malin as well, also a former champion in Digital Motorsports as well. So this is going to be a great fight between a two-time champ, a one-time champ, and the newbie, so to speak, to round out the championship in LMP2. So let's see how Josh Malin gets on. But he was very, very quick in practice, 7/10 over the nearest car. But we didn't really see representative times. Now, as we can see, they don't really get a lot of time to do a lap around Le Mans. You've got one out lap, and you've basically got kind of one attempt to get after it in here at Le Mans. It's a very long lap. It's over 3.5 minutes. So you get a 3.5 minute out lap if you can go that quickly, and then a 3-minute lap. So really, your first effort, you cannot afford to invalidate on your first lap and your only lap.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I entirely agree with that. I think really drivers should be given the chance to set 2 hot laps, as we've had all through this championship, and we see it in other championships as well, where you get 8 minutes. I think the iRacing officials give you 8 minutes. Now they do drop you, of course, at the end of the Porsche curve, so you don't have to do an entire out lap. But I still think even with 8 minutes and you're on the Porsche curves, like with a 3-minute lap, really these guys are missing out even more by having 10 minutes on an out lap. So I think personally it would have been good if there had been a little bit longer given, perhaps start slightly earlier and give the guys a little bit more time with quali. It probably wouldn't really have affected broadcast because you still would have had a few more minutes left, but it would have been good if they'd been given a bit more of an opportunity, I think. But I suppose, as you say, Jack, given this is the last round and given kind of all stakes are up for grabs, it does put a huge amount of pressure on the likes of Staskovic, that, you know, if he does, even though we've just seen him there post a time, you know, if he hadn't posted a time and Josh Malin had, then we could have been really in for an interesting battle. Not Josh Malin, but if Oscar Mangan hadn't and Josh Malin had, could have been in for a very interesting battle. But as it is, Timo going fastest with a 328.89, so perhaps those wheel issues have been fixed.
Yeah, looking very, very good. 328.893 for Timo Hayden, and he's on course now to secure himself pole position at Le Mans. But you know, pole position at Le Mans, it's good, but it's really not everything. Especially because you've got the whole Mulsanne to try and get away with that. Here's Peter McCann, who's gone right into the gravel trap in the last corner, but he's P5 at the moment, so that I don't think he'll be too displeased with that. And you can see they have the shortened run to the line there, so they may be able, if they started their laps early enough, they may have been able to sneak in a second attempt, at least for the LMPs, may have been able to sneak in a second attempt here at the very least. So, but as you can see, the gap up at the top 3 is virtually nothing. 2/10 around Le Mans, 328 lap, 329 lap. It's so close. As Josh Malin posting a 328.8, it gets even closer, 8/100ths of a second around Le Mans. Oscar Mangan across the line. Does he improve his time as he comes to? He does, 6/1000ths of a second across the line. How close is that at Le Mans, Kevin Galvin?
That's 6/1000ths of a second around a lap. That's 3.5 minutes in these LMP2 cars. That is really phenomenal. Phenomenally close between Oscar Mangan and Josh Malin. And as you say, as some of the Potato Nation are coming into our chat, it was getting a bit quiet in the YouTube chat, but delighted to see some of the Potato Nation guys in. We'll give you a shout out over the course of the stream. Yeah, it is kind of as you say, Jack. It's Tete Rouge, it's all about Tete Rouge, really, isn't it? And that run down to the first Mulsanne corner, particularly with iRacing and how, you know, they work with slowdowns. And if you get a slowdown on your first lap, there's no comparative delta, so you tend to be punished harder than you would on any other lap. So really, for Oscar and Josh, particularly if they're going too wide or potentially going too wide through that section, that could be really interesting to see who backs out and who could potentially get a slowdown on the opening lap. And then all of a sudden you're gone from P1, P2 all the way down to almost pretty much back of the line.
Absolutely, yeah. Timo Hayden still on a push here, up towards the Porsche curves. I might not just make it across the line here, Timo Hayden. So he's going to, I think, line up third. Arias Mantis with a good qualifying. Peter McCann, P5. Cundalis, Rory O'Shea, and Harold Tautis, just with the 8 LMPs that have managed to set laps here as they come into the Porsche curves. Oh, it's going to be tight whether Timo Hayden actually makes it to the line here to set a time. To complete his lap, so to speak. But see if he can make the gap even closer than 8/100ths of a second round the Porsche curves. Jordan Kelly gets even closer. Still 800, and he's 1,000th off of Timo Hayden in third place. Now up towards the Ford and Corvette chicanes. In he goes, turns it in. He will make it to the line here. Does Timo Hayden have any more time in the car? Gets on the power out of the last chicane across the line. Timo Hayden goes to the top by a 10th. here in Le Mans. Fantastic lap by Timo Hayden with a couple of seconds left. Ponomarenko goes pole by half a second in GT3 at the very end as well. That's what he needs to do to try and displace this man who's at the top of the GT3 standings. He doesn't quite make it to the line though, Adas. That's just a mistimed one by the Lithuanian there, and he starts P4. But Timo Hayden, last ditch effort. The guys get a 5-minute warm up as well to calm down and settle the nerves before we go in. But that is probably one of the closest qualifyings I've ever seen at Le Mans. 3/10 between the top four. Hayden, Mangan, Malin, and Kelly, your top four, and all three championship contenders are in the top three.
And of course, Jordan Kelly, my first ever race commentating with on the IDMC was Jordan Kelly winning the BMW M8. And I think his qualifying time in that was a 3:45, which blew my mind away at the time. And now I've kind of just come to expect how quick these guys are. It doesn't really come as a shock to me anymore. But yeah, Timo Hayden in the 96 Impulse Racing machine with a 3:28. That is a supremely quick time. That's the sort of time we might be doing in an LMP1, never mind in an LMP2. Timo extremely quick. Oscar Mangan with just two tenths off, as you say, a long track here at Le Mans. And the ability for these guys to just be so consistent is what's going to be fascinating. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how this race plays out. And again, Jack, I imagine tires won't be an issue particularly, but potentially traffic again will be a big issue. If you get caught in the wrong place with traffic in this place, it does cost you a huge amount of time.
Yeah, it really, really will. Thankfully, the track temperature is 18 degrees Celsius on track here in France, which is about perfect for looking after those tires. So we shouldn't have any issues with tires getting burned out really, really quickly. Thankfully, with the length of the lap around here, it'll be a little while before these guys manage to catch up to the GT3s. So they should be unimpeded from those as well. But a great lap from Vladimir Ponomarenko, who's P2 in the championship. So he needs everything he can get over Ada Staskovic, who's in P4 right there. Rob Moore with a good qualifying 6 on the front row. Luca Thingard third. Then Keith Stewart, Lukas Linkevich, and Sergio Graben. Linus Petkovic, Ben McClockery, John McDonald, Alec Vorotniak, Dennis Hanley, and Eden Fragina, who did not set times at the back there. So 10 LMP2s, 12 GT3s, sort of an even split there. But we got what we wanted. We have our top three in the top three in qualifying, and Jordan Kelly in the mix as well. Ari Simantis and Peter McCann, Arturas Konolis, Roy O'Shea, Harold Zitatis, and Tony Stack in those ones as well. But the question is now, do you really want to be leading on lap 1 at Le Mans with that big Mulsanne waiting to greet you?
Well, I suppose you might as well be leading as anywhere else, given the fact that if you're in the lead, you're most likely to avoid the carnage heading into the Dunlop chicane, which is often where we see quite a bit of the carnage. It'll be interesting because on Le Mans, with the way things work out, quite often the GT3 cars or the lower class cars can find themselves on the final chicane, which is an interesting place for the flag to go green as guys desperately try and get as much of a run as they can down to the first kink corner. So yeah, I think, Jack, over the course of an hour-long race, you might as well be in first as anywhere else, because if you don't get that draft, if the draft works against you in the first Mulsanne straight, it'll probably work for you in the second Mulsanne straight. And expect to see quite a lot of that. A lot of guys swapping and changing back and forth as we go down the straight, and then by the time we get into Indy and down towards Arnage, then it will start to sort itself out. Thanks to all of you coming in on the YouTube comments as well, particularly all the Potato Nation guys coming in off the back of Lawrence, who won't be commentating tonight. It's the old crew, the OGs, myself and Jack. But great to see Lawrence in the chat as well, and all of his extremely loyal followers. Thanks again to Kevin Mark as well for particularly, it just says, the game, look, this obviously is a simulation, but he says it looks so real, and that's obviously down to the DM guys and Ronan Hederman and the cameras and all the work that he does. But I can glad to say that I think one of the things we've always talked about is that the game and the sim looks great, even though it's a little bit limited compared to maybe the likes of R Factor. But what's kind of missing is maybe some of the TV graphics aren't quite up to maybe your TV broadcast standards. So we're really looking forward. We're happy to announce that that's going to change next season. We're going to have brand new broadcast graphics for you. And we're really looking forward to the brand new look at the IDMC. So that's something to look forward to next season, but still plenty to look forward to this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. So brand new graphics coming in next season. Looking forward to seeing how they look. And the beauty, I suppose, as well, is that normally myself and Kevin and everyone else would have an idea of what the championships are next year. We don't know. We've no idea what's coming next year. So we've absolutely no idea what's happening next year, and that's even better, honestly. So the surprise is going to be as much for us as it is for everyone at home at this stage. So I'm sure the plans are going to be similar, but. We'll wait and see, but we have to finish out this season first here at Le Mans, and here is your grid for the final round of the IDMC LMP2 and GT3 Autumn Series. Timo Hayden is on pole for the final round. Oscar Mangan beside him, his championship rival. He's also the championship leader heading into this one, heading for his third Digital-Motorsports title. Josh Malin trying to go for his second title here in Digital-Motorsports. Jordan Kelly also trying. Well, obviously, he tried earlier to add a second title to this, but he couldn't quite do it, so he starts P4, and he might be in the mix for this. Arias Humantas P5, Peter McCann is P6, Arturas Kundalis in 7th, then it's Rory O'Shea in P8, followed by Haraldus Yatautis in P9, and Tony Stack in P10. Then the GT3 field, it is Vladimir Ponomarenko in P11, but he is pole for GT3. P2 in GT3 is Rob Moore. Then it's Luca Thingard in P3, followed by Ada Staskiewicz in P4, Keith Stewart in P5, Lukas Linkiewicz in P6, Sergio Graven 7th, Linus Petkovic in P8, Ben McCluckery in P9, and John McDonald in P10 for that one. With 2 more cars down the back, it'll be Dennis Hanley's down at the tail end of the order. GT3s now already beginning to separate themselves. But this is it. This is really exciting, Kevin, because looking at the championship, whoever finishes in front between Timo and Oscar, if they are 1 and 2, they secure the championship.
This is it. It literally comes down to these two guys. Final shootout here at Le Mans as we get ready for the lights. We're heading down in towards Indy and in towards... No, sorry, we're going through into the Porsche curves. Thanks again, of course, to our partners as well, Motorsport Ireland, Digital-Motorsports, SimuCube, ESE Entertainment, and all those great guys who give DM a huge amount of support, and hope that all of you will be enjoying some of the goodies that will be coming your way over the festive period. Hopefully, we heard that DM getting a huge amount of orders in ahead of Christmas, up to their eyeballs, which is great to see. That there's going to be a lot of gear leaving County Kildare over this week and the next couple of weeks into people's homes for them to see what they can do themselves. But this really is the creme de la creme, and these are the guys who show you how it's done. So keep your eyes peeled for another hour of this, the final round of the IDMC at Le Mans. Jack, it's going to be an absolutely superb race from beginning to end.
Yeah, it really, really is. Timo Hayden, we saw he was in the YouTube chat earlier. He's incredibly nervous. He's for this one. He's on course for a potential first title in his debut season. Oscar Mangan trying to become one of the most successful in Digital Motorsports history, trying to go for his third title here in this one, going single file through the Ford chicanes down towards the Corvette chicane. Safety car is off here at Le Mans. Round through the final chicane, 1 more round to go. The lights are on, and we are go at Le Mans for the last time. Timo Hayden leads us away in the LMP2 field. Clean start from everybody, and immediately in the back, you can see Peter McCann immediately under pressure. Arturas Kundalis trying to make a position on lap number 1. Around the outside of turn 1, he will go to try and secure that place away. Into turn 1 they go. Clean between the top 3 and top 4 anyways. All good so far as they head down towards the Mulsanne. Timo Hayden getting a good restart, but the top 3 already starting to form a trio up front as they head down in towards the corner before the Mulsanne straight. And this is where the drafting begins now as they come down into the braking zone, fling it right, and onto the straight they will go. Hayden with a 0.4 of a second lead. Josh Malin now trying to pounce already on Oscar Mangan as they come down the Mulsanne straight. But again, the draft is not there for Josh Malin. He won't be able to get through. Oscar Mangan's getting the draft from Timo Hayden now down into the first Mulsanne chicane. Tucked underneath he goes into the braking zone, but they're going to be very patient, I think, at this early stage of the race. There's an hour race here involved, plus a pit stop as well. Very, very patient. Clean start from everybody in LMP2s, and looks like GT3s have also got away relatively cleanly. Ponomarenko leads that from his championship rival Staskovic as well. Slow car on the inside there as they come down. They are 3 wide in GT3 for P4 as Sergej Grabin tries to get himself up from P7 up to P4 into the first Mulsanne. The 2 Lithuanians make their way through into the braking zone. As they come into it now, onto the brakes they go, and the 2 of them who were 6th and 7th suddenly find themselves 4th and 5th. Great start from Sergej Grabin, but thankfully mostly clean from everybody. Well, I cursed it, didn't I? Somebody's round in the background.
Unfortunately, Rob Moore having quite a bit of issues as Keith Stewart now goes into second place ahead of our championship leader, Ada Staskovic. Rob Moore having quite a few issues. He dropped a few places down the first Mulsanne straight and then had issues at the first Mulsanne chicane. So it is Vladimir Ponomarenko leading them, Keith Stewart and Ada Staskovic as we go back, or Staskovic, should I say, as we go back to the front of the overall standings. And look how patient these guys are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all on the line. And just as I say that, we see Josh Malin coming out and then coming across. It's Oscar Mangan to block it. These guys have so much experience racing together that we really should see pretty clean racing going down here. None of them are going to do anything stupid. All of them very much still have their eye on the prize, with all 3 in with the chance of winning the IDMC LMP2 championship this winter season.
Absolutely, top 5 altogether. As now look at McCann with a lunge into the braking zone into Indianapolis. That would be a brave move if he pulled it off. Humantis defends it. Rory O'Shea looking, trying to get through as well, but couldn't quite get it into the braking zone there, so it has to sit behind again. But the top 5 are all in a big old train now, and then then you can see there they are up the top into the Porsche curves. Hayden leads, Mangan 2nd, Malin 3rd, Kelly 4th, and Humantis 5th in that big train in through the Porsche curves for the first time. They got through the first lap cleanly and unscathed, and that is what we wanted to see from these guys as they file their way through for the first time. Hayden building 0.7 of a second as Mangan, he'll be affected by the dirty air of the LMP that's in front of him, of Timo Hayden, and see if he can mitigate that as much as possible through into these 2 chicanes now. And Oscar, we know he'll be very patient. He won't try anything stupid. Neither will Josh Malin. If we remember back to the previous championship with the V8 supercars at Bathurst, remember the battle that Mangan and Malin had together through the chase and the brilliant fight they had all the way through for that championship. But Malin has an outside chance, but he needs something to happen to the guys in front of him here. Here's Vladimir Ponomarenko at the moment, and for him at the moment, Staskovic has dropped to 8th. Now, as far as we can see, Staskovic needs to basically finish last today for Ponomarenko to have a chance here, but not ideal for the championship leader there.
No, not ideal at all. Interested to see Luca Tingard way off there. 3 minutes 47. Did he not take the start? Oh, there's a contact there. That is Luca Tingard we're looking at. That was contact there with the car ahead of him. Not exactly sure what happened there, but he seems to be, looked like he turned, was it Grabin? No, it was Linus Petkovic. Sorry, it's on the graphic there. Linus Petkovic getting turned there by Luca Tingard, we think. We're not sure where Luca Tingard is in the standings. He's down as being 13th on the timing table and 4 minutes and 5 seconds off the leaders, but I'm not sure if is that correct, or are we missing a trick here? Maybe the race directors might be able to give us a hand.
I think he was caught up on a lap of an incident. I did see him fall down the order on the first lap. I was just keeping an eye on it, but he is at the moment about a lap off the leaders now. A bit unfortunate for him, but at least if he can get it to the finish, then that'll be something for him. But yeah, not ideal for the man who's 3rd in the championship at the moment. So it looks like he could be in danger of losing that 3rd in the championship as a result, as they come down the Mulsanne. And let's see what happens in behind. As you can see now, as they come down, Dennis Hanley and a few others, they're trying to go 3 abreast down into the Mulsanne chicane. They're going to try to sort them out. Ben McLaughlin being brave on the championship leader, defending from the championship leader at the moment. There's a slow car. That's Sergey Grabin slow. And that promotes Frisina up to the top as Josh Malin has now taken the overall lead at the same time from Timo Hayden. As all of that has been happening, Sergey Grabin now unfortunately dropping down to 8th, and Aidan Frisina, who started last in class, is now up to 3rd. Back to the leaders, Josh Malin from Timo Hayden from Oscar Mangan, and he's obviously not hanging around, so Josh Malin taking over the lead from Timo, and he also passed Oscar Mangan on the same lap in both of the Mulsannes right there. So Josh Malin fancies a crack at leading the race for a lap or so.
Yeah, why not? Why not get your nose out ahead? You never know what's going to happen behind you from the outset. You know, there's obviously he has Timo Hayden all over his back, and Timo's now almost bump drafting him. I think he is bump drafting him as they head towards the Porsche curves here on the final section of this infamous, or not infamous, this famous track. Infamous sounds a lot more worrying than famous. But yeah, Timo just pushing him out there, trying to see if he can extend the lead on Oscar Mangan, but he's dropped back there now a little bit, just with that aero wash. These cars are so aero dependent that on these high-speed corners, if you're within drafting distance, you're also within that aero wash distance, unfortunately, as just look at the speed that those cars, particularly Josh, carries through those Ford chicane. It's so impressive. You know, you look at the times and you look at these guys and you look at the onboards and you think, okay, that's possible, I could do that. I really do. If you have the iRacing service, or indeed any game which has an LMP2 car on it that has LeMans and is some way of a decent simulator, I really do put it to you to try and get through those chicanes at the same speed. As we go back there to look at what happened to Josh Hayden, that's him passing the leader, Timo Hayden. We're not sure what happened with Oscar Mangan, and then violently swerving to try and get out of that break, that toe immediately, to try and keep the lead going down into Indy. But yeah, really fascinating, Jack. Top 3 of the championship, battling at the head of the field on an iconic track in the final round of the championship on Mark Jasper.
Yeah, it was brilliant. So I think Timo just kind of backed off the throttle a little bit just to let him through, and then just dove into the slipstream as soon as he could. Down the Mulsanne again, will they swap around a second time, or will Timo just give him a bump draft? It's going to be a bump draft from Timo Hayden down into the first Mulsanne chicane, and just giving him a helping hand, just like Monza in many respects, on board with Timo Hayden now as he comes through the second Mulsanne. You see, look at the speed for Josh Malin carried through on the exit of the corner right there, and that's actually Oscar Mangan very, very close. There's the 99 machine just behind him as they get down to the second Mulsanne chicane. Jordan Kelly is still very much there up their rear end. Arias Imanta's also there as well. 5 cars in a train up the front, and they're just trying to keep themselves sensible at the moment into the second Mulsanne, and being very, very patient with each other right now, just not fighting too hard, trying to build as much of a gap as they can over the rest of the order, give themselves a bit of space. Remember, they do have to make a pit stop as well, so pit strategy is going to be absolutely crucial here, as Timo again is going to tuck into the slipstream, actually just backs off a little bit on the way through. Look at that, he's just trying to decide that was probably not the best idea to bump draft somebody into the Mulsanne corner. A deceivingly tricky corner, that one, to get right. If you miss the breaking point by even an inch, you go flying off into the gravel. And that poor bollard at the Mulsanne corner that I just saw fly into the gravel has been, it gets abused over the course of a 24-hour race as they come down to Indianapolis. You can see right there, Josh Malin. No, there definitely is a car behind him, ladies and gentlemen, that time. Timo was that close to him that there they go, as Jordan Kelly decides he fancies some action. He goes from 4th to the lead. Jordan Kelly with the move of the season around the outside of Indianapolis. What a move!
Jordan Kelly is like a Le Mans genius.
Oh,
and
Timo's off!
Yeah, look at that contact between Josh Malin and Timo Hayden. Now he drops back, and I was just about to make the point that if the standings stayed where they were, Oscar would win the championship by a single point. Thanks to Chris McCann on the YouTube comments for coming with that, our seasoned statistician / mathematician. But look at this for a move for Jordan Kelly in the draft, pulls out, executes it perfectly round the outside of Oscar. Then with Timo and Josh Malin battling, he says, okay, we'll have a bit of that as well. Darts in, and that is a brave move by Jordan Kelly, because he could have cleaned out both Josh. You see there in the background the contact between Josh forcing Timo wide, which forced him all the way back down into 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5th position the German now in the 96 car. But yeah, that is a superb bit of action. And Indianapolis is a dangerous place to take an overtake. But Jordan Kelly showing a textbook example of how it's done. And now he's an 8-10 lead at the front of the field.
That might be the bravest overtake I've seen anybody do. 3 wide into Indianapolis around the outside from Jordan Kelly. He had the trust in both cars on his inside to give him the space. It's now Timo Hayden. Now he's got to recover up the inside of Arias Imantas. No contest right there as they come into the first chicane. But absolute kudos to Jordan Kelly for that absolute brilliant move. And he now takes the lead as the flash of the lights from Timo Hayden now as he tries to bridge the gap. He's going to need the help of Arias Imantas here to catch up. He gets the flash lights. I think that's the universal symbol of I'm not going to pass you. Let's work together to catch up to this next part. There's the flash again from Arias Imantas. It's the ways of communication here in endurance racing when you can't use the voice chat. As Jordan Kelly leads at Le Mans with Josh Malin right behind him. Oscar Mangan P3, and as it sits right now, Oscar would win the title, but Josh Malin needs something to happen to both of them for him to have a shot here. But Jordan Kelly, he doesn't care about any of that. He's in the lead right now. He wants to win this season, and he's on course to try to do that. But they're only 11 minutes into this 1 hour race here at Le Mans, and Oscar Mangan's still in a very comfortable position, but now he's got to try and keep the gap to Timo Hayden, because the gap's over a second now, and Timo's going to have to work really, really hard to bridge that gap because he doesn't have the slipstream. He really needs Arias Imantas to help him out a big time here. They need to swap around, they need to work with each other to bridge this up, because when you don't have a draft at Le Mans and the other cars do, it is a death sentence.
Yeah, it is. It's just, you just find yourself going backwards whilst going forwards. It's an absolute nightmare. And Timo's looking at that gap, and he's looking at Oscar down the road ahead of him, and he's watching essentially the IDMC championship move away from him. Now, I wonder if Oscar's aware of the current championship standings. I suppose who's ahead of him, he'll know that Timo is behind him, so he probably knows he's comfortable enough in terms of the championship standings. I wouldn't expect to see any sort of dangerous moves, but Jordan Kelly, that must be a contender for overtaking of the year 2021. I mean, we talk about Oscar Mangan's overtaking the V8 supercars earlier this summer, but my God, that was some overtake as Josh Malin now right back on him. And when we see Josh trying Jordan Kelly now, a lap after Jordan Kelly just Gordon Kelly'd.
That's not a sentence I ever thought I'd hear, but but it works. But in the end, he backed out 2 teammates, not deciding to go for the overtake right there. Jordan Kelly fancies to lead for a little bit longer. Oscar Mangan's still there, and Timo's brought the gap under the second margin now. That's what he needs to be doing as they fight it out further behind. Peter McCallum's still sitting in a very good 6th position here. Arturas Gundalis in P7 and Rory O'Shea P8. So these guys in their own little fight right here. Just at the top of GT3, just to keep you updated on GT3, Staskovic, he has recovered to P5, and he's on the back of Aidan Frzina, who's in P4. So at the moment, as it stands, ADAS is going to win the championship by the looks of it, because he has got such a large margin going into this round, and every position he gains from now on will certainly help his case as they come up to this next part of the circuit with the second Mulsanne chicane. Here comes the move from ADAS Staskovic up the inside, and he should have that move done up to P4. He will go, and with over a 60-point advantage going into this round, he's comfortable and is now one step closer to securing that championship in his first Digital Motorsports season as well. And let's see if he can keep that going. Still plenty of time as Rory O'Shea and Arturas Gundalis battle it out for position, as I think Rory's just made the move on him there, and he can go chasing after Peter McCann. Back to the front then for 1, 2, and 3. Timo Hayden is now, he is just about in that draft range now. That's where he needs to be, and he's also helping out Arias Imantas, because what Arias has got now is he's got a very quick guy in front of him. Arias is a quick guy himself, but he's got a very, very quick guy in front of him to drag him back up to the top guys. Is now Josh Malin not deciding to go for the overtake this time.
No, he's backing off, Josh, just trying to play the game. As you can see them all following each other in. That's Jordan trying to break the toe. Josh behind him and Oscar Mangan. Look, these 3 guys know each other so well. 2 teammates as well, of course, in VRA Racing, leading the pack. Such a pity that turn 3 aren't here again. We said it at the beginning of the championship. We'll say it again. Such a pity, but yeah, brilliant to see the two guys, and I think Oscar might think about a go here on Josh if he can. But Timo Hayden now, with that battling, has slightly gotten himself back into it. 7/10. It was about a second and a tenth. Timo now has closed the gap enough to get that toe, and he's found himself right back in this one. So a long way away. Rory O'Shea overtaking Arturas Kundalis again. Arturas always finding himself in great battles as we find ourselves down the championship. And Ada Stashkovic really controlling this quite well. He's a long way off Luca Tingard in P3. Not sure how Luca's back up in P3 after everything, but he is, as our standings timing tables show on the left. But it's yeah, it would be interesting to see whether Oscar decides to make a move here, because with Timo now all over his back, that's certainly putting pressure on him.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think Timo's got the bit between his teeth now. He knows who he needs to outscore. Here comes Timo Hayden now. He's got to get in front of Oscar Mangan at the very least. Here he down towards the outside of Indianapolis, but he doesn't have the slipstream on the outside. He has to tuck back in, millimeter perfect to tuck back in. This time goes for the inside of Indianapolis. The aggression is showing for Timo Hayden. There he goes up to P3 and nearly got up the inside of Josh Malin as well. Oscar being very patient. He knows that if it stays as it is, he's champion anyway. He's being very patient, but Timo Hayden, he knows what he needs to. He's pushing with everything now. Just got shoved wide about a lap or two ago at Indianapolis, has recovered now up to third, and now goes chasing after Josh Malin. And now Oscar now knows what he needs to. He needs to just basically stick on the bumper of Timo Hayden. But Timo is looking like a man possessed as he goes for the inside of the Porsche curves. Can't quite find the space. And all that's doing now is giving Jordan Kelly some breathing space right now.
Yeah, a small bit. This is Jordan be absolutely delighted with this. But Timo, this is balls out driving from the German. Absolutely nothing. And where have we seen two championship contenders go head-to-head into a tight left-hander in the last round of the season? Not entirely sure. Maybe the YouTube chat might be able to help there. But Timo now into second place. There's a mistake there. And he's after overtaking Jordan Kelly, getting a wheel in the grass. And after all that brilliant
slow down, I think.
Jordan has, yeah, as you say, I was just going to say, has earned himself a slowdown. And now all of a sudden we see Timo Hayden back into second place. And a couple of laps ago it was, I think, Timo from Josh from Oscar. Now it's Josh from Timo from Oscar. And after a lot of moving and shaking and some superb overtaking, we find ourselves right back almost where we began with just over 40 minutes left. There is a long, long way left in this race. Do not forget, we have still the best bones of 3/4 of an hour left around here, and we've already had a huge amount of action. So I'm so looking forward to seeing what these guys serve up for us in the latter stages of this race. And of course, Jack, remember, we're talking about pit stops, the obviously mandatory pit stops, saving fuel. So it will be really interesting to see which one of these guys blink first. Will it just be a case of them following in Josh Malin whenever he decides to pit, or will somebody decide to go on an alternative strategy? I imagine Oscar Mangan, if Sebring has anything to go by, will know exactly when and where to pit.
Yeah, and he's, well, at the moment, out of the guys in the top three, he's the only one who hasn't led this race so far. He's been very patient, and just sticking behind who he needs to stay behind. Josh Malin breaking the airs, look, as he tries to just break the toe from the guys behind. Jordan Kelly still there in P5. He just got that classic slowdown on the exit of the Porsche curve, so easy to do, but was mature enough to pull to the inside, just keep out of the way of the rest and slot back into P5 without losing too much time. As now in the background here comes, there was a move there from Humantis, but he couldn't quite get it up the inside of Oscar Mangan that time. Humantis has been being the spanner in the works here a little bit as he gets himself, he's in a very good position here, is Arias Humantis. Now does Timo Hayden go for a move here in towards the Mulsanne corner, tucked up underneath the diffuser of Josh Malin. He's going to stick behind this time. It's a very tricky place to make an overtake into this section now, but Timo is back where he kind of wants to be. The car following, and he has the draft as well down into the Indianapolis corner now. Down up towards the corner they'll come now. Does he go for the overtake? Does he want to lead now? Up towards Indianapolis he comes again. Into the braking zone he'll come now in a second. Does he go for the move or does he stay behind? Looks like he's going to stay behind once again for another lap, but Oscar Mangan is not going to do that. He's going to go to the outside, and Arias Humantis is going to try to Kelly on the outside. Indianapolis he goes. He slots from P4 up to P2. Inside for Arias Humantis. Round the outside goes Josh Malin. He gets shuffled back to third. Timo Hayden back to P4. And right when he needs to do it, Oscar Mangan pounced. Humantis to second. And he's got a car, 2 cars between himself and Timo Hayden. That was superb driving from everybody there. Great move, Oscar Mangan. Great move, Humantis.
Unbelievable driving from both of them. Humantis doesn't give 2 shoes about this championship. He's going to get himself right involved there, and Timo Hayden, after all that battling and such aggressive driving, now finds himself back and forth, and Oscar Mangan in first position, and he'll be absolutely seething with Timo Hayden here, particularly quick, as we said, in around this track, really quick around here. But yeah, I look at that move, or Oscar Mangan, was that, we're just looking at a replay of Oscar. Did he get maybe a slowdown there? No, I'm not sure exactly what we were looking at, but Oscar, oh, now we're looking at the replay. This is the replay of the move. So Oscar round the outside of Josh Malin, then Timo tries to get involved. He's Humantis on the outside, so he can't get there, and that's what loses Timo to places eventually, because Timo was going to follow Oscar through there, and we probably would have had Oscar, Timo, then Josh Malin, but Arias Humantis' position, Humantis not even involved in the championship, fouled the whole thing up for the German, so he's going to be really, really annoyed about that. But there's coming off track as Josh Malin's contact between them. Oh, that's Josh. Did he need to come back across track? Not too sure about that. Timo's flashing him. I think he should leave the position. He does in the end, which is the right thing to do, but he's after holding up Timo a huge amount. Now all of a sudden Jordan Kelly has a 2-second gap between himself and Arias Humantis, with Timo another second behind. So Timo now, the bones of 2 and a bit seconds off Oscar Mangan, and out of the tow as well. Oh, this has been a horror lap for Timo Hayden.
Yeah, we might need to have a look at it again, because I think Timo actually got into the rear of Josh, which sent him wide in the first place. So we might need to look at it again as they come down into the first multi-stand. But now it's Oscar Mangan from Arias Humantis at the front as they swap again. Josh Malin back in front of Timo Hayden on the way down the multi-stand straight. And it's gone from bad to worse for Timo Hayden at the moment, down to P5. But now it's all not lost under pit strategy. It's still very close. Here's the replay again. Yeah, the rejoin not too great from Josh Malin right there, but I'm trying to see, did Timo get into him, but Josh did let him back through in the end for that. But let's go back to the front anyways. Oscar Mangan from Arias Humantis, just a bit unlucky. There's the nature of the corner in the end that does that. So Oscar Mangan from Arias Humantis now, these two 2.2 seconds ahead of Jordan Kelly from Josh Malin from Timo Hayden. So it's all spread out all of a sudden, but they're still quite close together even after that. So not all is not lost. We're still only 23 minutes into this 1 hour race, and about now is when they're going to start to catch up to the traffic.
Yeah, well, we're starting to catch up. The leaders in the GT3 class now are coming into the Porsche curves, and obviously the leaders in the LMP1. So yeah, we will start catching up now in the GT3 traffic, as you say, which will be interesting, particularly at this section, Porsche curves and the into the Ford chicane, as Arias Humantis now takes the lead, and Oscar Mangan, as I was waffling on there, as we go into Indy, Arias absolutely driving the tires off this thing. Will be interested to see how much of them are left by the end of the stint, but Arias absolutely flying in the red, green and yellow car, of course, in the colors of his native Lithuania. A number of Lithuanian drivers. Vladimir Ponomarenko, we're looking at the GT3 leader. He is 10 seconds down the road from Keith Stewart. He's absolutely annihilating things, but still not enough. He needs Ada Staskevich to finish way down the road if he's any chance of taking this championship. I think it's too late for him. But yeah, really interesting to see Jordan Kelly again, 1.4 seconds off Arias Humantis. Oscar Mangan gone back in the lead, and there's a spinning GT3 which Jordan Kelly has to avoid. That looked like it may have been Sergei Grabin or Linus Petkovic. I'm not entirely sure. One of those two. I think it was Petkovic. It is Petkovic in the slow and confused number 44 machine, and now that's an awkward one because he's seen flashing LMP2, so he's going to have to stay off the line here. He does have a GT3 coming back as well. That's Alec Vortniak, who's overtaking him for 7th position. But yeah, it really, Jack, patience is so difficult, particularly going through those Porsche curves. It's kind of a section that we see so much carnage between LMP2 and GT3 cars. So It seems like we've avoided most of it as we head down the Mulsanne straight, but we still have probably these LMP2 cars to pit and then try and re-overtake GT3 traffic again.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting close enough to the LMP2 stops now. At the moment, it's just a case of how much fuel has each of these guys saved, as Timo Hayden now back in the draft to Jordan Kelly, who's only about 2 seconds off the lead, but LeMans has a second and a half lead now. This was a move, Luca Thingard on Keith Stewart, and that was for second in GT3. Relatively easy move in the end for him. And he moves up into second in class as they come down the Mulsanne now. Timo Hayden absolutely flying up to the back of Jordan Kelly now. And basically now, Timo has got to chase after Oscar Mangan to try and secure this now. As you can see the amount of cars they've got on the Mulsanne now, with the GT3s very much getting caught. But there's no better place to catch them than the Mulsanne, really, as we look from the concentrated helmets of Timo Hayden as he goes now to make the move on Jordan Kelly down the straight. And by the looks of it, I'm not too certain, but Jordan, it looks like he just might have some damage in that car, because it doesn't look like it's going at full pelt in a straight line at the moment. So he's going to try anyway, stick up with Timo Hayden and try to get the move back in him as he is going to fight him down the straight here as much as he can. Jordan Kelly with a good run out and see if he can get in front, and he does, and Timo will be very frustrated with that as Jordan very fairly keeps the position, and they move now to get past the GT3 traffic at the same time as a lunge from Timo into the Mulsanne, but it can't quite get it done. And this man has been through a lot today, but he's very much not lost the aggression in the driving here as Timo Hayden now, and he's got to clear Jordan Kelly as quick as he can up the inside, coming up to Indianapolis, but there's a GT3 that's in the middle of the track as well. He's going to try to get past at the same time, and he does just about get through, and Josh Malin fancies to get through. They go 3-1 to Indianapolis. Josh Malin pounces through Indianapolis, and Timo Hayden once again is stuck behind Josh Malin. How frustrated would you be if you were Timo Hayden right now?
Every time he goes through Indianapolis, he seems to lose a place. Following the LMP leaders, there seems to be somebody overtaking on the side. This is unbelievable. We were looking at, so I really hope that somebody gets Jordan Kelly a broadband connection and some Wi-Fi up in Donegal, because the flashing really doesn't make things very difficult. Oh, that's a huge contact. That's Timo got into the back of a GT3 car. Chip done, Jack. Surely.
That's it. Surely that's got to be it. Timo Hayden off in the gravel, and he's towed. Timo Hayden is officially out of the running for the championship as he gets onto the brakes, and the GT3 got loose into.
I think there was contact between Josh Malin and the GT3, and then that sent him into Timo's path.
Oh,
that's what it looked like to me. Can we have a look at that again?
As he comes into the corner. I don't know. Was it net code? It looks like
hard to tell.
Very strange.
Very hard to tell. Maybe we can have a look again from Timo's angle, because this really defining moment.
No,
yeah, look at that. There was net code. There was net code between Josh Malin and the GT3 car. There was huge.
That's massive net code.
It's massive net code, but I think it sent him way into Timo's path, because I think Timo otherwise they were going to go round on either side, and I think there was net code between Josh and the GT3, which sent him straight into the path to Timo Hayden. Now I'm open to correction, but that's the way it looked like to me. It looked like the GT3 car, unfortunately, caught in the middle and speared into the path of Timo Hayden, and essentially all Oscar has to do now is finish the race.
Yeah, and just like that, the championship is defined. Oscar Mangan now, all he's got to do is get the car to the finish, and what a sickening way for it to end for Timo Hayden. After all of that, as they came into the braking zone for that, it was wow. You can't say you don't get drama here in the IDMC, and so unfortunate, because you're right. They would have gone either side. Here's the move that Josh Malin made, and how on the grass into Indianapolis, getting past Timo Hayden right there. And then we're going to get the run up to this now as he comes into Arnage, onto the brakes now. Gets it turned in. All's looking good so far. He gets a good run out, and it'll be the GT3 that's going to be coming up in just a few seconds' time. It was actually, looking at it, it was one of the it was the G2. Yeah, it was it was
Keith Stewart.
Yeah, Keith Stewart. And here they go into the braking zone, and yeah, look like that massive net code. huge netcode going in there, and just absolutely nothing Timo Hayden could do about that. And that is just one of those things, unfortunately, that can happen in Digital Motorsports. And unfortunately, Timo Hayden was on the wrong end at the wrong time. And poor GT3, innocent in that as well, got sent off into the barrier. And that's a cruel way for it to end. But Jordan Kelly now helping out Josh Malin to try to drag him up as they bump draft each other down into Indianapolis for this next part. Half an hour gone. I think we're probably maybe a lap away from getting our LMP2s in. But Oscar Mangan is about half an hour away from a third title and his second title in a row. And that's rarely been done. The only man who's ever been able to do it is Keith Dempsey, and he's on course to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely superb achievement. Yet another one to add to Oscar's glittering iRacing career. But really very disappointing, I think, that it really ended that way. It's one of those things. I don't know, netcode to me, that's certainly what it looked like. It could have been the GT3 being spooked and deciding to turn left, thinking that there wasn't another car on his outside. That could have been it. Not sure, but I'm gonna. It looked like to me that there was netcode on the left or the right rear corner of Keith Stewart's car that sent him spearing. And again, Jordan Kelly now all over the back of Josh Malin here, and these guys are going to keep running into the chicane, but it's bump drafting there again, and Jordan Kelly goes into the pits. So Jordan becomes not the first one, because we've just seen Arias Yamantis into the pits, and looks like Josh Malin, that's Arias Yamantis into the pits, and Jordan Kelly into the pits. And no better time, I think, to take a quick break and hear from some of the people that leave us bring this racing to you.
They say that perfection doesn't exist in this game. Most players just don't have it in them. But those who dare to seek it might catch excellence. And that sounds perfect to me. So, I'm done playing. Let's drive.
Are you looking to get involved in sim racing or to upgrade your existing sim equipment? Digital-Motorsports.com are the world's leading one-stop sim racing shop. We stock everything from wheels, pedals, PCs, cockpits, right through to fully built custom turnkey sim solutions built to meet your specific requirements. We're official distributors for the best brands including SimLab, Fanatec, Thrustmaster, Cube Controls, Husingveld, SimiCube, SimTag, Next Level Racing, Grid Engineering and many more. We offer fast, reliable worldwide shipping via DHL, and we also run some of the most competitive online racing leagues in the world. Check out digitalmotorsports.com today.
And welcome back to IDMC after all the drama that has just occurred. We needed a quick breather from that as they file their way down the Mulsanne. Oscar Mangan leads, Josh Malin second, Arias Yamantis third. He was, of course, in the pit lane. Jordan Kelly P4. And I'm interested to see now how much time do they gain, if any, that allows them to maybe gain some time on our leaders to sort this out. But Oscar Mangan on course for third title in IDMC. His first title was back in the Porsches on the Porsche Caymans GT4 category when he won that. And then, of course, he became the V8 Supercar champion in the previous one. And he's on course to maybe take this one, but he's still got another 30 or 25 minutes to that. Vladimir Ponomarenko still in the lead of his class by 13.6 seconds at this point. He's in full control. But Ada Staskovic at the moment, P3, is doing enough to secure himself the title at the moment. There he is in his debut season in the championship. He's looking to secure himself his first championship as well. Timo Hayden is back out on the circuit, but he is plus one lap down. But Timo is going, and that's what we like to see. But you can't help but feel gutted for him. Everything was thrown at him today, so much fighting. And in the end, it was netcode that spelled the end. Yeah,
well, actually, according to Timo, who's gone on the YouTube channel and has been commenting, he says the GTE car lost it by himself. So slowing down there, GTE car.
Was I right? Was I right the first time?
Oh, you were right the first time. Fair play to Jack Canan on the money. It was the GT car, went right, oversteered to the right, tried to overcorrect, and went straight back into the path of Timo Hayden. So, mea culpa, I was wrong. I thought there was neck cone involved there, and it looked like it at full speed.
At full speed, yeah.
Great to finally see it at a slowed down angle. And Timo Hayden running around again, but Timo said to lift on the straight to save fuel is normal, but he slowed down to 200 kilometers. This is talking about Keith Stewart, who actually lost himself now a chance at P3 in the GT3 championship by that accident. He says to lift on the straight to save fuel is normal, but he slowed down to like 200 kilometers on the straights, and you can't drive left or right anymore. I think he might be talking about Arias Yamantis, or Jordan Kelly says he isn't really fighting for the championship. So I presume that's one of Arias or Jordan, potentially Arias, because he was obviously involved in all that. So I think Timo unhappy with some of the driving by some of those that aren't involved in the championship. But hey, that's racing. You just, part of that is being able to deal with what's going on around you. People, everyone's running their own race, they're running their own championship, and that's just the way of it. But Timo at least back out on track and going to finish out the race, and he's been a real brilliant competitor in this IDMC series. So really hope he returns. Just very disappointing that it ended that way, as we see Josh Malin now coming out in second place, coming out initially in second place, but being quickly overtaken by Arias and Juventus and Jordan Kelly in the kink. But Oscar Manga now holding a 6.9 second advantage. I have to say, Jack, I'm very disappointed that Timo didn't get a chance to go at Oscar, even though in Oscar's position it wouldn't really matter what Timo had done. It would have needed Oscar to have finished fourth or below, I think, to win the championship. But yeah, very disappointing. And again, Ada Staskovic doing enough to basically secure. He's in the pits at the moment as the GT3 cars pit. Luca Tingard ahead of him, but doing just about enough. And yeah, it looks like the championship, unfortunately, is kind of winding down to a conclusion that we were hoping mightn't be the case, but certainly extremely deserving winners of both these championships. Oscar particularly. Not Oscar particularly, but particularly what Oscar did in this last race just shows that it's not just a case of him being a hot lapper or being quick. His racecraft is exceptional, and his ability to use traffic and to use the situation to his advantage is really the reason why he's so consistently great in these championships. Yeah,
it really is. As we see 37 minutes gone in this race, about 23 to go, and as they fight it out for position in P2. This is Jordan Kelly, Arias Yamantis, and Josh Malin. Arias now behind, and Josh was actually undercut by the two of them, but manages to get through and gets past to follow his teammate Jordan Kelly now. But Oscar Mangan is now 7 seconds up the road as a result of his pit stop now, and he's done a great job as they file their way through past the traffic now. And you can be sure the two VRA teammates will work together to try and build a gap over Arias here if they possibly can. Into the braking zone, onto the power they go with this big lead to try to bring down to the man up front, as there is Ada Staskovic, who's trying to get himself up onto the class podium now, fighting with Aidan Frzina, trying to get through and still trying to make his way past. Doesn't quite manage to do it this time as they get onto the power again. Down into the second Mulsanne chicane, into the slipstream he goes in the Porsche, trying to pull up alongside. He should be able to now as they get down the straight into the braking zone for the second Mulsanne. He should be in front by the time they get there. And Ada Staskovic very much gets himself back onto the GT3 podium and is definitely now securing himself a title if he stays exactly where he is, but nobody's stopping Vladimir Ponomarenko from taking a dominant win at the moment as the two VRA Delaras work together, but they're not getting away from Arias Yamantis, who's having a great drive this race day, this final race day of the championship so far, and he's doing a great job up front. But there is Oscar Mangan, who's now got nobody in front of him, nobody behind him, which is a complete difference to what he was competing with earlier, but he's now got basically 20 minutes of lapping Le Mans with nobody to bother him.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. Just a nice Sunday drive around Le Mans for Oscar. This championship up already, so basically stay out of trouble, make sure you don't crash into any LMP or GT3 cars, and enjoy 20 minutes where you know you're going to win the championship. And again, winning back-to-back championships. And you know, the thing about Oscar as well is that, and these two championships, is that Oscar, it's not like we've gone from GT3 to GTE, or we've gone from USF 2000 to IndyCar. Like, we've gone from V8 supercars to LMP2s. Two completely different kinds of car, two completely different kinds of racing, you know, two totally different driving styles. And the fact that Oscar has been, I wouldn't say so dominant, because he was more dominant, I think, in the supercars than in this championship, but to be so consistently good in two completely different style of vehicles is such an impressive feat. And I have to say, massive hats off to Oscar, a really deserving winner of this championship. But I really hope to see Timo back again, because I think he gave him a good run for his money. And if it wasn't for that late issue, as you see Arias Humantis now going across him, that looks like that was one of the VRA guys. Was that Jordan Kelly going for a little trip across? It was Jordan Kelly going for a little excursion there on the Dunlop chicane, which sees him down into 4th position. Oh, he's right on the tail of Arias Humantis again. But yeah, Oscar really blows me away with how good he is, and a real pity that he didn't get to properly compete in the Digital Motorsports World Cup, but hopefully next year he'll be back and we'll be able to see him fly the tricolour once again.
Yeah, it was brilliant to see him up there again, competing in Poland. But yeah, it's fantastic. Of course, I'm just while you're talking, I was just trying to think off the top of my head of how many. I think what's the most amount of titles that somebody has won in Digital Motorsports, and I'm thinking. Obviously, it is Keith Dempsey, but I can't remember how many he won. I want to say it's 4 titles that Keith Dempsey won, but obviously I can be corrected if anybody knows that off the top of their head. But it'll certainly put Oscar second in the list with 3, as Jordan Kelly now going to try and get past Arturas Arias Humantis on the outside of Indianapolis. He's done this before, but he did it 3 wide, and he's done it before the corner this time. Jordan Kelly back up to 3rd, but don't think that's going to be resolved until the end of the race. Josh Malin 2 seconds in front of them now as they come down into the braking zone for Arnage. Still some time to do for this next few minutes of the race. Flash the lights from Josh Malin up in front as they come up to some traffic now, as they come up to some GT3s. They're again coming up to the tail end of the GT3s in this next one. GT3 gets well out of the way for him on the way through, and through the Porsche curves, and he is settling in as well. And Josh, once again, he's consistently fighting for titles in every car you put him in. Once again, he was competing for it in the V8s. He competed for it many, many times on many occasions, but missed out before. But he is definitely up there every chance you give him. He's up for the title challenge as well. So we'll wait and see what happens with the next series. No idea what cars they're going to choose, what tracks they're going to choose, when it's going to be. We don't have a clue what's going to happen in the new year, but we're enjoying what can happen with this one in this few more minutes that we've got left. We've got a few chances to talk about the season so far, what's happened. I've missed a good bit of it, obviously, but we've got an opportunity now, since we've got a big lull in the action. Lawrence is back in with us. He's retired for the shortest period of time possible, and Lawrence couldn't stay away for too long. But Lawrence, how are you?
Lads, I just wanted to say you're doing a great job, and I'm glad to see that all my training and all my pointers are rubbing off on you. You're doing a fantastic job.
Nice one.
Lads, I kind of didn't know where to look for a large portion of that. In a way, it's a shame that Oscar isn't being challenged as much right now. But Kevin, you did a great justice by saying how incredible a feat this is, what he's doing here. I really, you have to feel for Timo, but Timo he's keeping that never rage quit attitude. He's still there, and you know, anything can still happen. But we've seen Oscar be so consistent; it's unlikely at this stage. So I really do feel for him. We saw an amazing battle, and I mean, that overtake by Jordan Kelly was absolute poetry. I've never seen anything like it in that position. Like, he just did not care who he was overtaking. It was like he was overtaking back markers. It was absolutely just so brave, so aggressive, so calculated, and the way he pulls back across here, that threw the other two drivers behind him and put them out of position. They got disoriented, and that led to the little bit of off track. It was absolutely majestic, and if Jordan Kelly hadn't gotten, I think he's gotten 2 off tracks, and he had slowdowns for them, he'd still be leading this race.
Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. And you know, it's still been he's still fighting up here. Is Jordan Kelly still fighting with young Arias LeMans, who's still not giving him any breathing room as they fight for a podium here. Arias still stuck behind, but you know, it's been a fantastic season. I've only been around for 2 rounds of this, but it's sort of followed the same kind of DM formula in the way that it never fails to disappoint. This when you've got the caliber of drivers, and I think
never fails to disappoint.
Yeah, never fail. Oh, I just realized what I said. I have now I will put the caveat, I do have COVID, so please give me a break. But it never fails to impress. That's what I meant to say. You know, but every time it's nice to see the new guys come in, challenge the established form, which is, if we think back to the Porsche Caymans, that's what Oscar did to Keith Dempsey. He came in brand new into the championship and won it straight out. So when you get guys coming in, starting challenging the established guard, that's what you want. That's what we'd love to see Timo come back. We want to see Vladimir and all those guys come back and challenge the established guys. We don't want the same guy winning all the time.
Definitely. I mean, and we saw that at the start of the season. I've had the pleasure of commentating on 3 of these events, I think, this season. Well, including this one, I'd say it's 3.5. It's just been unreal to see Timo's amazing start. We know Timo is an established multi-class driver. We've seen his discipline and his skills on track. We saw our usual IDMC drivers absolutely step it up. They were still a little bit behind the curve for round 2, but round 3, round 4, they were absolutely, and Timo started getting a little bit kind of taken by how much they had all improved. And as well as that, we started seeing amazing battles throughout the whole grid, the whole championship table, and the likes of Jordan Kelly and even Arias Yomantas, you know, doing an incredible job today as well. That must be a little bit, you know, confusing. The fight was brought to the IDMC drivers, and they responded amazingly. And I bet there are people watching this or hearing about this who want a chance of that themselves. Yeah,
absolutely. If you do want to think that you want to get involved, well, you can check out Digital-Motorsports.com and keep up to date with all the happenings that are going on. You can keep an eye on new season that will be announced in the new year, we assume, but we've no idea where we could possibly go next with news. What can we put these guys in now?
W12s?
That's a good idea. An F1 championship, maybe.
F1 championship down the North Schleife.
People love to see carnage. I'm all in favor. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. I think the W12 would be an interesting one. It's obviously wouldn't be multi-class, it would be single-class racing, but we've had the USF 2000s. It's been a while since we've done an open wheel championship. I don't see why we can't stick these guys in a W12 and see how they do. It would certainly be interesting to see how the times stack up between some of the quickest guys in the IDMC and some of the quickest guys in F1.
Yeah, and how about some TCRs as well? The new TCR classes as well. You know, we had a TCR championship in Digital-Motorsports, and that was one of the best championships ever because of how close it was. And now we've got the Audi, we've got the Hyundai, and we've got the Honda in the TCRs as well. I think that'd be a good little championship as well. We've got Rallycross as well. We've got the Formula Vs, which Jordan is crying out for. But Formula Vs wouldn't even be a bad one either. There's so many opportunities, and I'm sure with the way that the guys at Digital Motorsports will do this, they'll mix it up as much as possible. We had an open wheeler series, we had a tin top series, we had a prototype series, so I'm sure we're going to get something more of the same next year.
For me, Formula Vs or F3s would be amazing. Formula Vs I think would be even better because it gives us a chance to see tracks that we've not necessarily seen much of in IDMC before. The shorter, tighter tracks, and if we can get, grids like this, the driving, the slipstream in the Formula Vs for anybody who's ever used them, if you're on a straight, even if you're a second behind and the straight has any bit of length, you're ahead by the end of that straight. And if you're battling with someone, you change places at least once a lap. So it's completely incredible driving from an entertainment point of view. It would be great. You might think they're a little bit slow, but the racing is superb.
Yeah, the V's are so much to drive. Now, of course, they do have the most of the cars now have the damage model as well. But I think that there's plenty of choice, let's say, for new championships. But the guys will work on it. There'll be a plan put in place. I'm seeing suggestions, and I'm kind of liking this one, to be honest, Kevin. I don't know about the other guys as well. How can we possibly use the Mount Washington hill climb?
Oh
in some
man, I
way?
was literally going to say this. I find it difficult to know how we could possibly use it. But I do like the idea of a Mount Washington soapbox derby at the end of the year, maybe around Christmas, and heats, and maybe a final for charity. So maybe, Mar, if you're listening, if we're doing something for the Make-A-Wish Foundation like we did last year, raised a huge amount of money. Obviously, we were at Brands Hatch, I think, last year with can't even remember what we were racing at Brands Hatch last year. Skippies, that's right, the Skippies. Maybe Formula V's soapbox down Mount Washington. Heats of 4. Who last man standing wins. I don't know. Or
guys, I've got a little bit of word on the street here. It's just been whispered. I think you guys got it as well. It seems like there's going to be a charity race before the end of the year. What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, we did one last year, and I can't remember how much we raised, Jack. Did we raise 3,000 or 4,000 euro for Make-A-Wish Foundation? So, any opportunity to do that, particularly, look, with everything going on, I think we could all do with a bit of a pick-me-up at the moment, and it'd be good to see something that's a bit. Personally, I'd love to see something that's a bit.
Stupid.
A bit silly. The word that we're getting is that I will quote it directly. Donations will play a big role, so I'm looking forward to that. I can see Chris McCann and the VRA lads having absolute. And Peter, of course, and all the VRA lads causing absolute carnage for each other. I'd say VRA lads will end up probably donating about €1,000 between them just by micro donations to try and set the guys out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, it'd be nice to do something a bit silly, I think, lads, at the end of the year, because some of those championships, sorry, Lawrence, some of these championships have been really tightly contested, and there's been a lot of hot-headedness. So it'll be nice to see some of these guys just shut out and do something a bit silly. As Tony Stack trying for a move on Harold Totus. Oh, that was a bit tight, but staying there. Sorry, LD.
So I'm not sure if people know what that means with the donations, but and I'm not sure how much we can say right now. But I'm guessing that it's going to be where when you donate, you can actually have an influence over the race. Obviously, there's no winner, no trophy or anything like that, but you could, for example, force a pit stop if you donate enough money, or you could force a virtual safety car or something like that, which would be absolutely incredible. And the people watching on the stream now, this is something that you want to tune in for if that's the way that it's going to go.
It just sounds like a new version of Max Bantz, which is a series I love.
I reckon maybe around LeMans, introducing a quick 5-minute no flashing rule could be very interesting if we could. That seemed to work well in another charity race, so that might happen. Oh, that was very tight there between Tony Stack and could be Petkovic, sorry, or could be Sergei Grabin, not sure, but both of them surviving there as we get into the final 5 minutes. And guys, look what a championship it's been. I just want to say again, Oscar Mangan, what an incredible drive to win this race by 7 seconds, given how close it was. Again, I think what really impressed me about Oscar, particularly this season, was Sebring, just bringing it back to that pit stop in Sebring where he just flummoxed us all. We were expecting Josh Malin to be right on his bumper, and he came out almost 3 seconds ahead of of Josh Malin, like one of the quickest drivers in the series. So I think Oscar's just really been dialed in from moment one. And again, Ada Staskovic, the fact that he's coming into this final round essentially almost guaranteed of a win shows you how dominant he's been in the GT3 class. He's been a massive addition, as has Vladimir Ponomarenko, as has the likes of Eden Frenza, as has the likes of Timo Hayden. So it's great to see. Love to see some of those guys come back again and contest. And Alex Vorchnak as well, who we've just seen there. We haven't talked about him a huge amount, but he's a great addition, the Ukrainian, to the series. Great to see a big Eastern European, kind of influence on this championship as well. And like, it's great. We just hopefully we get more drivers from more countries and more talent to try and push the likes of the Oscars, the Joshes, and the Jordans right to the very limit.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely incredible year to see those new faces and all that. I'd like to, I guess, take the opportunity, guys, to thank you for your mentorship. I know I started here with a bit tongue-in-cheek, but you guys have taught me a lot, and we've had a great time, especially this season. It's not the first season that I've commentated on, but it's definitely been the best. We've also had the Digital Motorsports World Cup, which was a real pleasure to share with you, and a huge thanks to ESC and Frenzy and all the crew who looked after us really, really well. So it's been amazing to be an honorary a member of this crew, if I can call myself that. But you guys are, as far as I'm concerned, the best that we have in Digital Motorsports at the moment in commentary. You guys make every stream really, really entertaining, and I think the people in the chat will agree with that. I am going to jump out, and hopefully I'll see you all next season. I'll definitely see you at that charity event.
Yeah, brilliant. So thanks a million for all you've done, Lawrence, and we'll definitely see you next year, and we'll definitely see you at the charity event, hopefully influencing some really stupid decisions that these guys will have to do. But thanks a million for everything you've done, LD, and for bringing your very, very amazing fan base to the streams every time as well. But thanks a million, and enjoy your Christmas.
Thank you very much. Same to you guys. See you later.
Brilliant. So Lawrence Soswa, LD, who brings his brilliant Potato Nation over to the stream every time, and we're now beginning the close to the final lap. Don't think we're quite there yet, but I had a little thought there while we were thinking about the no flashing rule. What if you donated a certain amount of money, put the race at night, let's say, and if you donate a certain amount of money, then the drivers had to turn their lights off completely.
Oh, now we're talking. No, you wouldn't be able to do that in our factor, but the safety car tonight had no lights on, so I don't see why we couldn't do a dark race. Obviously, that would be great crack if you were in VR, I imagine, particularly. Extremely disorientating, but yeah, why not? I mean, it's ultimately, these charity races are really not about the racing. It's about raising money for a great cause. Last year it was the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Not sure if we've kind of finalized our charity partner again this year, but it is a brilliant one. And like I said, it'll be great to have the likes of LD. I know LD said he's not sure if he's part of the crew. I think comfortably we can say at this point he's very much part of the family here, and part of the furniture, which is very much a compliment, makeup and all, for LD. But yeah, it is brilliant. And look, it's been a great championship. It's just a pity, of course, that we had a championship on a final round that ended. A note in which we kind of ended up being able to talk about a lot of other things as opposed to commentating on the racing. But Jack, I mean, the first opening half an hour of this race was just incredible racing. And these guys provided every week. I mean, I know LD has very kindly placated us by saying that we're one of the best, but really we're watching the best, and it makes it so easy to. You're just shouting about what happens, and these guys give you something to shout about every single time they go to track. So, as Oscar rounds the bend, obviously I think we'll have probably not another lap after this. This is probably going to be final lap, Jack, and I imagine final lap of the IDMC Championship. And what a year, what a season it's been, and what a year it's been, 2021. Not just for the championship, but for Digital Motorsports, and I think for sim racing in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a groundbreaking year, you could say, where we managed to break boundaries of production value for Digital Motorsports, but particularly we're seeing new ground being broken right now in the fact that we have got this man, Oscar Mangan, in the IDMC. He's won 2 titles and he's about to go 2 in a row, would you believe, and add his 3rd title. And what a season from this man. So consistent, fought it out to the very, very end, did what he needed to do around the last 2 corners, and he is going to etch his name into the record books. Here he comes. Oscar Mangan is a 3-time IDMC champion. He wins at Le Mans in LMP2 and wins the championship from Timo Hayden in the final round. Josh Malin says the fastest lap on the final lap. Jordan Kelly's on the podium as well this season. Great to see him back on the podium. Vladimir Ponomarenko has just won GT3 as well as he crossed the line right there behind their dominant victory from him today, but it won't be enough to secure the title. He's going to do donuts anyway in the GT3, but it'll be Staskiewicz who is going to secure himself the title in 3rd place. Great drive and a great championship from him as well. He wins in his debut season here in Digital Motorsports for the Lithuanian. Luka Thingard finishes in 2nd right there, but 3-time champion Oscar Mangan here in IDMC and a 1st-time champion in Aidas Staskiewicz. But what can you say now? As far as my memory serves me correctly, he's 1 title away from equaling Keith Dempsey's record.
Yeah, what an incredible record that would be for Oscar Mangan. And think of all the years that are ahead of him, the Core Sim Sport driver. As we said, look, he's really among the best in the world. He's mixing it with the likes of the Max Beneckes, the Sebastian Jobs, the Graham Carrolls of this world. And it's just, I mean, how proud are we of this guy? You know, I mean, he's even from your hometown, Jack. He's from Mullingar, and he's out there on the world stage representing Ireland. You know, and look, Jack, I know you're doing a dissertation on esports, which I'm sure, or about sim racing, which I'm sure you'll be asking people to help with. But the Irish influence on sim racing over the last number of years has been just enormous. Some of the people we've had involved in our championships, you know, some of the work that Digital Motorsport has done. It's just been superb, and it is really a huge statement of pride, I think, when we have, you know, we talk about Ireland competing on the world stage, and we're very much at the forefront of sim racing, and this championship is really at the forefront of some of the best drivers. So massive congratulations to Oscar, a huge congratulations to Ada Staskiewicz. It's been a really a good consistent championship from him. He's pretty much been in the podium, I think, on all 6 of the rounds. I don't even know if there's been a single drop round. And I think overtake of the season, potentially overtake of the year. I think we should put it to a video vote for people. And we maybe could announce the winner in the charity race between Oscar's overtaking the V8 supercars at Phillip Island and Jordan's overtake going into Indianapolis here at Le Mans. Absolutely stunning stuff. And really, Jack, I know the championship kind of wound down to a conclusion, but what a brilliant race again these guys have given us.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'd forgotten about that Oscar Mangan overtake in Phillip Island, and it's come back to me again. That was superb from him. But Jordan Kelly as well, that fantastic overtake. It's great to see him back on the podium as well up here. That puts 3 champions on the podium here at Le Mans. Oscar Mangan, Josh Malin as well. He's always there, and Jordan Kelly in P3 as well. But yeah, just fantastic to see these guys doing so well. And Lawrence made a good point. I think we need turn 3 back to start defend this record. If there's only one way you're going to stop Oscar Mangan from winning multiple championships, you need to get. I think we need to put Keith Dempsey up against him again to see how that will end.
That's the thing. Sorry, Jack. I know it's probably the point you were going to finish that sentence on, but like, I think this is a great opportunity now for Keith. Like, I know obviously his life is at a very different place to Oscar's, and maybe he mightn't have the same amount of time to commit to it, which is totally fair enough. when he has so many real life commitments. I've spoken to him over the phone, and look, he's a really busy guy. And look, he's living his own life as being a dad and doing a brilliant job at that. And all the very best wishes to him and his family over Christmas. But for him, I think like if I don't know. If I was him and I was seeing Oscar Mangan go for the 3 titles, and I had such an amazing record in the IDMC, and Oscar potentially going for a 4th, I'd be saying to myself, I want to clip the wings off this kid. I want to remind him who's the best. I want to remind everyone why my name is revered in the IDMC and why I'm known as such a quick driver. 4 championships under my belt. I want to go back and I want to have a go off this guy. And it would be great to see Keith and the other turn 3 guys, Niall Murray and Nicky Meredith and all these guys back into the championship. Because I think, not just speaking about Keith, but I think, look, there's a great rivalry there between VRA and turn 3, and as all great rivalries do, sometimes it spills over, but that's what makes it great. And that's what people love to watch. And that's what we saw at Mercedes and Red Bull this year in the Formula 1. That's what we've seen between, you can go back, look at the Porsche and Audi, or you can go back further, look at Ford and Ferrari, whatever you want. It's the rivalries and it's the incidents that make it, and it's the opinions and everything else that feed into that. So I'd love to see Oscar and Keith battle it out at the top of the championship where we go next year, whether it's W12, whether it's Formula V, whether it's Mazdas. I don't care. I just want to see these guys battle it out and really, and show us what they can do. So yeah, absolutely on that point. A couple of people have made it, and I know some people are making it tongue in cheek at times, but I do think genuinely it would be brilliant to have those turn 3 guys back, because we have missed them this year. And you throw them in, you throw the foreign drivers that some of the guys we've had in, like the Timos and the debutants, like the Arias, the Itis Staskovic, and the Vladimir Ponomarenkos, and then you throw in the Oscar Mangans and the Dash Malins and the VRA guys. Like, that is just mind-blowingly good, and that sets us up for what's going to be a really special 2022, not just for the IDMC, where you will see changes, new graphics on the way, other changes on the way. We're working on it all the time, but also hopefully the return of the Digital Motorsports World Cup, and another huge year for Digital Motorsports and for sim racing in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got plenty of guys standing by for interviews. We're going to have a chat with our driver who finished in 3rd place back at the podium at last, Jordan Kelly. Joins me in the commentary booth this evening. Jordan, great to see you back on the podium. Really good to see you fighting up at the top end once again. How was it?
It was a kind of a, I don't know, what would you call it? And it was more a strategic race at the start where everybody was just trying to fuel save and stuff. And at a point, I was just like, frig this, so I'm just gonna send it. And I done it, and I was like, the fuel was dropping way too quick, and I was just like, right, I need to get back behind these for a bit. But at the end up, there was no issue. But like at that moment, I was kind of weary about it. But it wasn't too bad. Like, but apart from that, but we had a good battle. Then once Oscar started to get away with Timo and stuff, unfortunate for him to get taken out and stuff. But at the end of the day, it was still it was a good race at the end.
Yeah, we're just having a replay, and I think that this has been voted for overtake of the year so far, with the 3 wide into Indianapolis around the outside. Not too bad going, but overall, Jordan, with these multi-class championships, where we don't know what's happening next season, but what would be a championship you'd want to see next season?
I always like single seaters, but like it's kind of like there's a lot of death. Like it's always going to happen with single seaters and stuff. But Porsche Cup would be nice too. That'd be a nice car to drive, the new one, like so. And realistically, I'd drive anything, but it'd still be good to get back in a single seater again.
Brilliant stuff. Well, Jordan, thanks for giving us some entertainment, a brilliant overtake, and we'll hopefully see you back next season.
You do. Thanks, Jack.
Thanks,
See you guys
Jordan.
later.
Well, Jordan Kelly, who obviously I was going to ask him what his thought process was, but he gave it to me. Screw this, I'm going to send it.
Yeah, absolutely. That is kind of Jordan, man of few words, but a man of amazing talent. That is very funny. Jack, I'm going to leave you take the next interview if you don't mind.
Because you're eating.
That's the bit where we cover it over in production, but don't worry about it.
Well, we're now going to join in with our second place man who gave us some good racing as well. Josh Malin is back with us. Josh, well, we heard from Jordan. He said it was a really strategic race out there. Would you say the same?
100%. I don't know whether you. Well, obviously you saw the first couple of laps there, and we were all just sort of really trying to fuel save. And then Jordan, as you see on the screen here, Jordan comes flying past, so I'm like, right, I'll sort of tag on to him. And then Timo's trying to come around me outside, and I'm turning in, and Timo gets run out. So yeah, it wasn't the best race from me, but I'm happy with second. And yeah, I think I'm definitely going to need to invest. Well, not invest, but get hold of some fuel calculator software. I think I overfueled by like 10 liters at least. So I sat there for an extra few seconds, which is why Oscar got such a good jump on me coming out of the pit stop phase.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there was a good ding dong battling all the way through, but end of the season now. Any mad plans for Christmas?
No mad plans for Christmas. No, just going up to well, hopefully with COVID restrictions and everything all being well, it's all getting a bit of a farce now, isn't it? So going up to my grandparents, and then after that, my girlfriend Alice is coming down for New Year, so that'll be really nice to spend some time with her. And yeah, just sort of wind down after what has been quite a hectic but a really good year in sort of the racing side of things, at least.
Yeah, very good. Well, speaking of racing, we actually don't know what's going on with the new season. What cars they are. What would be your suggestion for a championship?
Is this a silly question, or do I give a silly answer? Porsche Cup. It's the obvious choice.
Yeah.
It's the obvious choice. I'm by no means the quickest in a cup car on iRacing. So it'll be good to have a Porsche Cup series. I was speaking with some of the VRA boys during the race, and we were sort of thinking about like Aston Martin GT1s and the Chevrolet Corvette. And I jokingly suggested we do MX-5s for a laugh. So yeah, anything goes really. I mean, I'm happy to sort of explore new areas in iRacing. I mean, there's been the new TCR cars that have been released recently and Knock Hill. So yeah, it's all out there. You just got to sort of pick the right one, and well, you can't please everyone with picking the right one, but yeah, whatever happens, it'll be a good series nonetheless. I mean, Digital Motorsports have hosted a fantastic series all throughout this year, and I just want to thank them for hosting such a fantastic series.
Brilliant stuff. Well, Josh, as always, thanks for hopping in, for having a chat with us. Thanks for racing, and hopefully we'll by the sounds of it, we'll definitely see you back next season fighting again.
100%, no worries. Happy Christmas, everyone, and have a happy New Year.
Same to you, Josh. Thanks a million.
Cheers.
So Josh Malin there, no mad plans for Christmas, but definitely some good suggestions there. I hadn't actually thought about the GT1 cars that do not get the love on iRacing.
I agree, yeah, and that GT challenge that we see from Huisgeveld, we don't really see that huge numbers in it. So maybe on IDMC be a bad thing.
No, absolutely not.
So I think I'm joined by our winner in the GT3 class this evening, and a man who's been tantalizingly close to the championship all year, if just not close enough. Vladimir Ponomarenko, thank you for joining us. A huge gap there at the end. You must really enjoy this place.
Yeah, it was. Well, I can't really say it was fun, to be honest. It was quite boring, because yeah, you saw the gap. There was not much to do beside not throwing the car away. Yeah, I like Le Mans, basically not particularly in GT3 cars, but yeah, I practiced a lot. I have a lot of track time because of last season, week 12, I believe, VRS, and a couple of league races. So it's still fresh in the memory, so to say. And yeah, Track temp was also cool. So yeah, it was cool. Sorry.
No, cool in many ways because it's not very often iRacing. So an ambient temperature of 18 degrees in northern France in November. I'm still not sure either how iRacing figures that one out. But yeah, it is nice because look, 2 weeks ago it was like an ice rink for you guys, and it's nice to have track temps that are at least some way drivable. Like when you're driving yourself, because obviously everyone's on the same setup. Do you prefer cooler tracks? I mean, everyone prefers to drive it. So does it give you an advantage to drive, do you think, more so than the others to be on a cooler track?
Yeah, obviously I prefer it, but I think it should be the same for most drivers because in GT3 we're obviously lacking on aero downforce, so cooler temperatures just allow you to drive faster, simple as that, through the corners, and I think driving faster is more fun for racing drivers.
And Vladimir, look, very close to GT3 Championship. Obviously, ATIS with the win in the championship overall. Like, how much have you enjoyed your first season with the IDMC, and can we expect to see you back next year?
Yeah, so congrats to Adas. First of all, he was pretty much flawless. Very great racing from him. He was faster where he needed to be faster. So yeah, definitely deserved to take P1 here. I didn't take my chances. Well, he did. So yeah, it's the way it should be. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was an interesting experience. I did not enjoy the setup too much because it was kind of not let's say not what you're used to drive. But yeah, it was okay. It was fun. There were great battles. I was happy that there was some. The pace basically went up after the first two races, and there were a couple of more people contending for the win. And actually, threatening you. So yeah, it was great battles. It was all nice and fair most of the time. So yeah, I definitely can say great job there on the organization, and thank you for casting as well.
Yeah, well, look, like it's all worthwhile when we see you guys. Maybe not such, as you say, boring. I don't know if boring is the word we'd use to describe it, but efficient, an efficient drive. We saw you take today's race, but we do always enjoy the racing from you guys. So look, Vladimir, thanks so much again with your debut season. You've certainly made a massive impression here on the IDMC, and looking forward to seeing you back next year.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Perfect. That was Vladimir Ponomarenko. So that is the last of our finishers, but now we move on to those who have conquered from all the way back in, what was it, September we began this, late September, all the way up now to the stroke of Christmas. Jack, you're with our LMP2 championship winner, Oscar Mangan.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Oscar, a 3-time champion now in IDMC. Right at the end, it all went to plan in the end. Very strategic plays at the start, but everything happened behind you. Looked simple to the end.
It was. I knew going into this race that it would be literally all about fuel saving. It'd be almost like Talladega or Daytona of a race. So made sure to have my fuel calculator handy, and just for basically the first 20 minutes of the race, I just said I'll sit here and fuel save, and if Josh wants to lead the train, that's fine. I'm happy with that. And then Jordan overtook the three of us, I guess, because we were getting to the point where we were driving about 5 seconds a lap off pace. So Jordan went around all of us, and then everyone seemed to pick up the pace again. Then there was a bit of a kerfuffle at one stage. We all went by, and then Josh was leading ahead of Timo again. And just coming out of Indianapolis, they seemed to be going slower than usual, I guess, really saving fuel. So I just said if I gun it here, I might get a bit of a run on it. And then Arias followed me through, and he kind of got between me and them. So for the rest of the lap and the lap after that, I just tried to push as hard as I could and get kind of away. Once you kind of got a 1.5 second buffer, it seemed that you would stop giving them tow. So it was kind of just the goal was to pull away from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you joined the Digital Motorsports Championship back in, I think it was the Porsche Cayman days, did you expect to now have 3 titles to your name at the end of it?
I didn't really expect to have 3. I guess at the time, I know Alex is ahead of me now, but at the time, I've been on iRacing for about 8 years now. I've raced at World Championship level, but formerly in the F1 cars, and done a lot of special events, so I knew I would probably have a pace advantage against most lads. But then a lot of the guys that race in this championship don't do official racing, so their iRating kind of hides their true pace. Like Josh is 5.4k iRating, but realistically he could easily be 7k or so I did expect to come in and sort of be fighting at the front, but I didn't expect the level to be as high as it is. So it's been good fun. The Cayman, the V8 supercar was probably the most fun, I guess, because it was a bit more dominant. But each championship has had its kind of own challenge, and it's been fun to sort of reset each time and have another go again and see how we do.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, final question. It's Christmas time. I know we can't really do much, but any plans?
No plans. I think January is going to be pretty busy for events and series coming up. So just take a bit of a break for the week, and just have a bit of a relaxation and go back to it then after New Year's and back to practicing and have another stab at a couple of different championships and events and see what comes up.
Great stuff. Well, Oscar, thanks a million for hopping in with us, and have a good Christmas, and congratulations on your third title.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
So that was Oscar Mangan, now a three-time champion, and finally, well, Kevin is with our inaugural champion in GT3.
Yeah, our inaugural champion, Atis. Now, do you remember our bet, Atis, I said to you earlier in the season?
Yes, I definitely did. And that was the only thing that motivated me to win.
Well, I'm glad we've such a huge impression on you. So I am joined by our GT3 championship leader, Atis. I said I'd get it right. Now, I didn't say it had to come from my mouth, okay? I just said I'd get it right. So, so I went down, up and down the as I said to Jack earlier, Lithuanian YouTube from the different radio stations to try and find a namesake. Yeah,
Sure, that will do.
I've been saying Staskovic for the race. It's probably not quite right yet, but I promised I would get it right. I didn't promise it would be me that would get it right, but I promised I would be the one to deliver it.
Fair enough.
I like to think I've some way loopholed our bet. Anyway, apart from all that aside, Atis, congratulations. Really, it was one of those races where you were probably keeping half an eye on Vladimir and half an eye on yourself. Now, we saw you go for a late move even then, but it was really, this whole race was just about risk management more than anything else, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I definitely knew that I had to finish at least P9. And yeah, the rest is history. I raced as much as I can do a safe race. That did not save me from very stupid mistakes and a lot of slowdowns and such. But I mean, hey, we're here.
Yeah, and look, obviously a bit of talk about drop rounds and all that beforehand, but really, I think what's given you your win and probably what's made your afternoon and evening so easy, if I'm right to say, or at least relaxing, is just how consistent you've been all championship. And we've seen it's just so important to kind of stay out of trouble, and especially with these LMP2 cars, the ability to just kind of position your car in a way that you're making it very clear what you're doing is kind of so important, because you can be really, really quick, but if you get taken out by an LMP2 car every single time, it does make it very difficult.
Yes. I mean, I suppose there's some kind of mutual respect if you're a leader of a class and another class passes you. I guess that plays a lot, because as I saw, there was quite so many incidents down the grid, but if you're in top 3, everyone's looking at you with more respect than usual. So I guess that plays a lot.
Can I just talk to you? I suppose, look, you've won the GT3 championship now. Obviously, that was kind of the Pro-Am class. Are you hoping now you might be able to step up to the pros and get into a beefier car? And if so, I suppose when you're coming back to us, when and not if, what would be your preferred choice if you were to come into next season?
I don't know. I suppose I missed the season where you raced V8 supercars. I think that was hella fun. But I think Oscar, was it, who mentioned it, or maybe Josh, who mentioned that Porsche Cup would be the choice to go. It never ceases to amaze you how much skill you need to simply to keep it on the road. And I think that's one part of the fun of the racing, because if you're just doing anything and still managing to win, that's not as fun as keeping the car on the road with all your strength.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, I think it was Josh Main, and Josh obviously knows these Porsche Cup cars, and also Oscar very quick in them, as we saw the Digital Motorsports World Cup had Porsche Cup cars. So, yeah, interesting, very interesting. Adis, look, finally before we leave you go, massive congratulations again. Brilliant to see a debutant come in here and really be so impressive. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to before we leave you for the sadly the final time this season?
Yeah, obviously the team over the Limit Racing, they helped me all around the season. They've been here all the time, and obviously family, friends, and lovers.
Lovers. I like
and
the
you,
plural.
you.
Do
And
I?
you,
No, you had me covered by lovers. Don't worry. I knew I was included already. Adis Taskovich, and I'm gonna say it that way from now on. I hope you don't mind. And that's as close as I can get to what I can listen to and make sense of.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on it. We'll need to get you over in Ireland and do an elocution lesson. Congratulations on your championship win. So consistent, a massively deserving champion. I'm really looking forward to seeing you back next year.
Cheers. Thank you all.
So yeah, that's everybody. But don't go away yet, because we are joined by, I'm contractually obliged to say, Digital Motorsports founder, owner, CEO, social media extraordinaire, Lewis Hamilton superfan, Niall Maher. Niall, look, again, really, really great championship. Again, coming down to the final race in both classes. Again, some superb driving, Jordan Kelly's overtake. And again, just showing why 2021 has been such a superb year for the IDMC and for Digital Motorsports.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, look, I'm not on to go into a long spiel. I was jaw dropped again with the race tonight, and as always, like fair play to Oscar. Great challenge from Josh and from Eidos as well. I won't try the surname just yet, but great, as you said, see a debutant coming in, and I think 2021, as we rounded out, is the year of Digital Motorsports now. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but we've arrived. We've done the World Cup. We don't need to justify this anymore. It's a legitimate sport. We take it serious. We've great pride in it. And a huge thanks. The reason I'm on, we very rarely actually thank Jack and Kevin, and of course Ronan in the background, who make all this look and sound so exciting, and all his drivers who take part in it. A fantastic year of IDMC, and as I like to say, onwards and upwards, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, I'm going to bring you in here as well. Obviously, you're the Digital Motorsports World Cup, and we talked kind of extensively about that with Lawrence. But yeah, just to standard of driving again, Jordan Kelly's overtake. We're talking about obviously Oscar Mangan, and I'd throw in as well. For those who watched the EDMC, was it Alex Dunn overtook 4 people going into Le Comm in the LMP2s on one of the opening laps? So just in those alone, I honestly think we should have a video highlight reel. We should have a highlight reel of 3 overtakes and get people to vote on what there should be for the end of the season and announce it at our charity race. Again, it's going to be really great to have a charity race down the line. Jack, so I suppose, what have you made of this season? And I suppose, will you be joining us for next season? That's the quick question.
Well, I'm gonna do my best to get get involved as much as I can, because I haven't missed a series, so I don't wanna miss it.
Don't worry, Jack. We're gonna get our people to talk to your people, and we'll
He actually has people now, so you have to be careful. He has representation, so maybe
don't
you might
tempt me. I will.
Yeah, be careful. You might see a letter in the post.
Yeah, no, but it's been typical. You know, it's just, it gets better and better every time. That's the great thing about it, and it's all down to Niall thanks us a lot, but it's down to Niall, who had the vision to come up with it, and to Rob and to Sean and to all the Digital Motorsports team as well. And we definitely don't thank Ronan enough for the
No, we
amount of
don't.
work this man does behind the scenes, with the cameras, the standings, and all the stream hardship that he has to go through week in, week out.
Could I just go on a quick shout as well, because I think Ronan will want us to mention this, but Chris McCann. Am I right to say, Chris, in terms of
It
the
is, yeah,
spreadsheets
yeah.
and the Excel spreadsheets and everything he does to get that over the line, and never asks for anything off the back of it. And Ronan's always massively, and again, Lawrence again coming in for commentary says, it's great and it looks great, and myself and Jack are often the ones that get to broadcast it to you, but there's a huge amount of people that work behind the scenes. Again, the same as in Poland. I think it was half an army were running it. So, it's so impressive how the kind of passion that people have for it. And like I said, it just makes everything so much easier when you're working with a great bunch. And yeah, so thanks to Chris and thanks to Ronan and all those, because I think it would be remiss not to mention Chris and LD and all that.
Absolutely. And 2 bombshells to drop, as they always do, right? So one is we're actually, well, Ronan is, we're speaking with Make-A-Wish tomorrow. We're late in getting the details for the charity race out. And the reason for that is we just want to make it as big and as exciting as possible, and also as rewarding to Make-A-Wish as possible. Stay tuned for that. The second, it's interesting, there are people talking about V8s and cup cars and where are we going to go next. So I'm not going to say too much about that, but definitely there'll be a more international flavor to things as we move forward. So I will leave it to Jack and Kevin to sign off. We would love to see more drivers back, and a special shout out, as we're talking about everyone there, was so proud to see Jack Byrne, I think it was Max Hart, Jordan Kelly, and actually Alex Dunn, all drivers who've raced with us here in IDMC, nominated by Motorsport Ireland. And we can't forget Motorsport Ireland, and indeed Mondello Park, who always support us so much. And they're in the background. We race under the banner of Motorsport Ireland, and we started off, Jack, you'll remember the exciting days out in Mondello Park, getting this up off the ground. So a huge thanks to them, and well done to Alex again on winning the Sexton Trophy, I believe it's called. And yeah, onwards and upwards as ever. It's gonna be, we never rest on our laurels. That's the one thing we'll say. So it's always going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit better, a little bit more exciting. So bigger prizes, faster races, and definitely we'll be making strides towards more professional racing in the new year. So I'll leave it to the 2 guys to sign off. But for me, a happy Christmas to everyone. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, fun, fast, and fair, I think, is what we say, and it's very much. Niall, I'm really looking forward to doing our next commentary from the Bahamas, all expenses paid. That is going to be absolutely smashing. So I'm really glad you announced the international flavor to our series next year. But no, on a serious note, that'll be very irresponsible given the current circumstances. But we can tell you that, look, we're always talking, myself, Niall, Jack, Lawrence, Ronan behind the scenes about how we can make this even better. As we say, new TV graphics on the way for you, which is going to really revolutionize the look of it, which we're really looking forward to. And then potentially even more on the way from there. As Niall says, we're only going in one direction. Jack, do you want to give us one last thought before we head away?
Just if we can just repeat this consistently, I think we're on to a winner. But I think if we just keep striving and keep pushing, we'll be good. I'm looking forward to seeing what the new year brings, because this year was amazing. Traveling to Poland, getting to do all that as well. And if we talk about, I all the drivers I know are looking for a Porsche Cup championship, and to be honest, I'd support that, because if we go off the World Cup, then that's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, the racing in that one did not fail to disappoint. Thanks to all of you as well, and we haven't mentioned to all of you who are watching. It's a cliche thing to say, But really, if there's nobody watching, it's a bit like a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it. So there's absolutely no point if there's nobody watching. And do tell your friends, do tell anybody who's into motorsport, or even if they're not into iRacing or not into digital motorsport. And if anybody there is into digital motorsport, any other people that you know around the iRacing service that you think might be interested, just give them a shout. I'm sure watching the first 20 minutes of Le Mans tonight would have changed their mind. But really, yeah, that's it. Two very deserving winners in Ada Staskiewicz and of course Oscar Mangin for his third IDMC championship, his second in a row. He's just one away now from equaling Keith Dempsey. So it's all to play for. Do join us soon before the end of the year, where we hope to make a huge amount of money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it'll be a fun event, not just for those involved, but for those watching as well. But until then, from Le Mans, it's bonsoir. Have a happy Christmas. Slán go fóill.